What if I told you that you could build your very own cozy, off-grid, tiny home for less than $5,000? No contractors, no crazy loans, just pure DIY magic. That's right, folks. Today, I'm taking you on our step-by-step journey from a pile of lumber to a stunning tiny house. We're talking blood, sweat, probably some tears, hopefully happy ones, and a whole lot of sawdust. This isn't just about building a house, it's about embracing a simpler, more sustainable way of life. We're ditching the 9-to-5 grind, saying see you later to sky-high rent, and saying hello to fresh air, starry nights, and the sweet, sweet sound of silence, except for maybe the birds chirping. And stick around, because at the end you'll see the final reveal with some awesome animations. I'm talking next-level 3D stuff that'll make you want to grab a hammer and start building your own tiny dream. Let's do this. Alright, before we grab our hammers and start busting down walls, figuratively of course, we're building this thing, let's talk about the moolah. I know what you're thinking. Abhishek, $5,000 for a whole house? Are you pulling my leg? And to that I say, nope, not even a little bit. We kept costs crazy low by getting scrappy. Think reclaimed wood, second-hand windows, and a whole lot of ingenuity. Now let's break it down like it's a funky fresh beat. As you can see, the bulk of our budget went to materials, lumber, plywood, roofing, the good stuff. But even then, we managed to snag some sweet deals. Pro tip, Craigslist, Facebook, Marketplace, and even construction dumpsters are your new best friends. Seriously, one man's trash is another man's treasure. We found some amazing windows for a steal and repurposed them into a gorgeous feature wall. Don't be afraid to get creative and think outside the big box store. For our off-grid power setup, we went with a solar system that cost us around $800. Now, this might seem like a big chunk, but trust me, it's an investment that pays off big time. No more outrageous electricity bills, just free energy from the sun. Tools were another expense, but we kept it minimal. We're talking basic power tools, a trusty hammer, and a whole lot of elbow grease. And hey, if you don't want to buy everything, you can always rent or borrow from friends. Remember, sharing is caring. And finally, we've got our miscellaneous expenses, which covered things like paint, screws, nails, and other little odds and ends. It's all about being resourceful, thinking outside the box, and not being afraid to get your hands dirty. All right, folks, it's time to get down to business. With our budget locked and loaded, it's time to lay the foundation for our tiny dream home. Now, we're not talking about pouring a bunch of concrete here. Nope, we're keeping things eco-friendly and budget-friendly with pier blocks. Pier blocks are basically precast concrete blocks that you space out along the ground to support the frame of your tiny house. They're super easy to work with, relatively inexpensive, and best of all, they're adjustable. So if you ever need to level out your tiny house, you can just shimmy those blocks around until everything's hunky-dory. We started by clearing the land and leveling the ground as much as possible. Then we measured out the dimensions of our tiny house and marked the locations for each pier block. Once the blocks were in place, we double-checked everything with a level to make sure our foundation was rock solid. With the foundation set, it was time to move on to the fun part, framing. Now, I know framing might look a little intimidating, especially if you're new to the whole construction game, but trust me, it's totally doable. All you need is a solid plan, the right tools, and a can-do attitude. We used pressure-treated lumber for the base of our frame, which is super important because it's going to be in direct contact with the ground. This type of lumber is treated to resist rot and insects, so you know your tiny house is going to stand the test of time. For the walls and roof, we used standard framing lumber, which is more affordable and readily available. And by the end of the day, we were standing inside the framed shell of our future home, high-fiving each other and feeling like total rock stars. With our tiny house framed and looking like a real-life structure, woohoo! It was time to tackle the next big challenge, enclosing the walls and roof. Now we wanted to keep things budget-friendly and sustainable, so we opted for a combination of reclaimed wood siding and corrugated metal roofing. We found a local salvage yard that had a ton of reclaimed wood siding in various sizes and finishes. It was like a treasure trove of rustic charm. We spent a day sorting through the piles, picking out the pieces we liked best and loading them up in the back of our truck. Back at the build site, we got to work installing the siding, carefully fitting each piece together like a giant jigsaw puzzle. We used a combination of nails and screws to secure the siding, making sure everything was nice and snug. For the roof, we went with corrugated metal, which is a classic choice for tiny houses and sheds. It's durable, affordable, and relatively easy to install. Plus, it gives our tiny house a cool industrial vibe. We started by installing plywood sheathing over the roof rafters, which provides a solid base for the metal roofing. Then we rolled out the metal sheets, overlapping them carefully to prevent leaks. We used special screws with rubber washers to secure the roofing to the sheathing, ensuring a watertight seal. We used a combination of fiberglass bats and spray foam insulation to seal up any gaps and cracks. We stuffed the fiberglass bats between the wall studs and roof rafters, making sure to wear gloves and a mask to protect ourselves from the itchy fibers. And here's a winterproofing hack for you: double layer insulation and silicone sealant in every crack. All right, folks, it's time to talk about everyone's favorite topic: going off-grid. Now, I know what you're thinking. Off-grid living, that sounds complicated and expensive, but trust me, it's not as daunting as it seems. Plus, there's something incredibly empowering about generating your own power and collecting your own water. For our tiny house, we decided to keep things simple and affordable with a basic solar power system. We're not talking about a massive array of panels here, just a couple of 100-watt solar panels, a charge controller, a battery, and an inverter. The solar panels capture the sun's energy and convert it into direct current, DC, electricity. The charge controller regulates the flow of electricity from the panels to the battery, preventing overcharging and damage. The battery stores the electricity for later use, kind of like a giant rechargeable battery pack. And finally, the inverter converts the DC electricity from the battery into alternating current, AC electricity, which is what most household appliances run on. Now, our solar power system isn't going to power a mansion, but it's more than enough to run our lights, charge our phones and laptops, and even power a mini fridge. We also made sure to be mindful of our energy consumption using energy-efficient appliances and LED lights. As for water, we lucked out big time. Our tiny house is situated near a beautiful freshwater creek. We installed a simple gravity-fed water system, which basically involves collecting water from the creek in a large storage tank and letting gravity do the work of delivering it to our tiny house. All right, folks, with the exterior of our tiny house complete and our off-grid systems up and running, it was time to tackle the fun part, transforming the inside of our tiny home into a cozy and functional living space. Now, I'm not going to lie, decorating a tiny house comes with its own unique set of challenges. But it's also an opportunity to get creative and think outside the box, literally. One of the biggest challenges of tiny house living is figuring out how to maximize space. Every square inch counts, so we had to get strategic about our furniture choices and storage solutions. We decided to embrace the minimalist aesthetic, choosing furniture that was both functional and stylish. Our living room doubles as our bedroom thanks to a super comfy convertible sofa bed that easily transforms from a cozy couch during the day to a spacious bed at night. We built a custom platform for the sofa bed which provides extra storage space underneath. We also wanted to create a dedicated workspace, so we built a floating desk that folds down from the wall when we need it and tucks away neatly when we don't. We added some shelves above the desk for storage and decorated the space with some plants and inspiring artwork. The kitchen is the heart of our tiny house, so we wanted to make sure it was both functional and inviting. We opted for open shelving instead of upper cabinets, which creates a more open and airy feel. We built the shelves ourselves, using reclaimed wood, which adds a touch of rustic charm to the space. We also wanted to incorporate some sustainable materials into our tiny house, so we used bamboo countertops for the kitchen and bathroom. Bamboo is a fast-growing renewable resource that's also incredibly durable and water-resistant. For the bathroom, we installed a composting toilet, which is a more eco-friendly alternative to a traditional flush toilet. It might sound a little intimidating at first, but trust me, it's not as scary as it sounds. Plus, it's a great way to reduce your water consumption and environmental impact. We also installed a small, energy-efficient shower stall and a compact sink. To add some personality and warmth to our tiny house, we decorated with plants, artwork, and cozy textiles. Final reveal. From an empty patch of land to this, in just 3 months and under $5,000. If we can do it, you can too. Dream big, build small, and start your adventure. Want the full building plans? Drop a comment below and don't forget to subscribe for more off-grid inspo. See you in the next one.